Aaron Rodgers went in to say, I know I'm much closer to the end than I am to the beginning of my career. I do get how important this is at this
36
stage.
years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, what would a second Lombardi trophy do for Aaron Rodgers' legacy?
Oh, well, that's the only thing missing from, and you might say we move the goalpost. Like he gets one, now what's missing is two. Well, to get in the discussion that his talent rightfully should place him in, which is the greatest quarterback ever, not named Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, he's one championship away from being in that discussion. I'm not saying he'll be at the top of the discussion, but he's in the room. Brady right now is in a room by himself. I imagine some nice scotch, maybe some cigars. He's in the room by himself, and he's going to be in that room by himself forever.
Yes.
Nobody's ever going to be able to join him. But there's another room. Joe Montana's in it. Peyton Manning's in it. I have John Elway in it. And just, guys in the last 50 years. And those are the only guys there. Brett Favre is in a room down the hall with Aaron and with Drew Brees and with Dan Marino. These are all nice rooms. But you'd like to get to that next one. And to me, the 8 best quarterbacks since the merger with respect to Bradshaw and Staubach, Troy Aikman, Steve Young, that's your pyramid. Rodgers jumps a level. Rodgers, and the conversation some people were trying to have a month ago, is Drew Brees actually better than Peyton Manning, which is a conversation no one actually ever had while they were playing.
No.
If Rodgers wins another Super Bowl, I'll have that conversation. Manning's got 2 of them, but Manning got his second one when it was not the prime of his career, led by the defense. I know Manning's got the 5 regular season MVPs.
Yes.
Rodgers, though, has the second most with 3. And Rodgers, unlike Manning, his play is at this level in the regular season and at this level in the postseason. Peyton's play was at this level in the regular season, a tick above Rodgers, but about here in the postseason. So, yeah, he is 3 games away, a championship away from at least having a credible argument. In the last 50 years, I'm the second best to ever do this. In the modern era, I'm the second best to ever do this. I can make the case for that. That's what a second championship would do for Aaron Rodgers, and it would prove he can win one without Greg Jennings, which I need to see happen.
I love it. I love it. It would do wonders for his legacy. When you look at what we talk about, what would hurt his legacy, it's the lack of rings. It's the lack of Super Bowl appearances. Yep. Forget winning it. It's just not even getting there with his skill set and with the roster that they've had. Now, we understand what they haven't had, but we've always looked at him to be the X factor and more than enough to get back there at least. And so going into the mindset of an Aaron Rodgers, a guy who always has had a chip on his shoulder, he's always playing with this what if, or what did you say, or what can I pluck out of the media or the press clippings that will drive me even more, so when it does happen and when I do make you look bad, I'm going to kind of jab at you a little bit. This would do that with all the opportunities that the Green Bay Packers have had that he feels, and I was there for some of them, that we let slip away. And that window does not open too often. You know it. It does not. And when it does open, it doesn't open all the way. And so he sees an opportunity where he gets it. He says it. I think about it all the time because he's experienced not getting there and being so close and having the disappointment and the letdown of, man, I almost did it. And how great would it feel for him? And I get it. He can say his relationship with Mike McCarthy is great, and it is probably good, I'm sure. But he would love nothing more than to get to a Super Bowl appearance and win one without Mike McCarthy.
The first year McCarthy's gone?
The first year he's gone? That would be something that you couldn't write up, and he would salivate at that opportunity.
Well, here's the thing: when you look at Aaron Rodgers, we're talking about one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks the game has ever seen. I mean, everybody's just trying to figure out why has Aaron Rodgers only had one game in the Super Bowl? Why hadn't he made it to conference championships and Super Bowls more often, being that talented? I think a lot of it has to do with the organization not surrounding him with the requisite talent that it takes to compete at that level. I think that's why Green Bay moved off of Ted Thompson as their GM a couple of years ago, because they recognized that they got to try to take advantage of Aaron Rodgers in the twilight of his career. And for the better part of his prime, they haven't been aggressive in terms of being able to surround him with top-tier talent. They didn't go out in free agency and spend a whole lot of money. This was one of the first off seasons that they were active. And Brian Gutekunst, their GM, he went out and he signed the Smith brothers because he realized that I can't ask Aaron Rodgers to win a 35-31 shootout every single week, but especially in the playoffs. So the fact that this team can play a couple of different games and still be able to have success, I think it bodes well for him. But back to the conversation, where does this place Aaron Rodgers if he's able to win another Super Bowl? I think it puts him on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. When you consider that there ain't a lot of quarterbacks that have multiple Super Bowl rings and multiple Super Bowl MVPs, I think Aaron Rodgers gets right there at the top of that list. I mean, you've got 5 quarterbacks that have multiple Super Bowl MVPs, and Brady and Montana being 2 of them.
Yep.
I think that's the kind of rare air that you would put Aaron Rodgers in. I mean, he would be with Brady, with Montana, with Peyton Manning. I think he would be the 4th name on that list, with all respect to John Elway, because that's just how gifted Aaron Rodgers has been throughout his career.
And it would end forever the Rodgers-Favre debate, which I know for a lot of us, we think Rodgers has ascended past him. The NFL 100 list just came out. Brett Favre's name was on it. Aaron Rodgers' name was not. So for some people, maybe an older generation, I know you played with both of them, and it's nothing against Brett Favre. To me, it would, I already think Aaron's better and has had a better career, but Favre did get to 2. You know what I mean? He won 1, lost 1, and it would put a pin in that debate for all time. But the other element of this is, for Rodgers, the level of playoff heartbreak he has suffered, I think, is underrated. I think, and some of this I know is very touchy for you.
That onside kick in 2014.
Well, so he's lost 7 playoff games. He's played 11 years in this league. 1 year they didn't lose a playoff game because they won it all. 3 years they missed the playoffs. His first season as a starter, and then the last 2 years. So those other 7 years, how did they end? 3 times you get blown out. The 15-1 year, you got blown out. The Colin Kaepernick running all over Lambeau Field year, you get blown out. And the conference championship game in 2016 when they went down to Atlanta and just could not get off the field to get blown out. But those other 4 losses, 3 are overtime.
Yes.
3 playoff overtime losses. First playoff game in his career. All you guys on the offense did is score 45 points. That's just good enough to get you beat 51-45 in overtime. They lose to Cap again, this time on a field goal as time expires. Then you lose the onside kick game in overtime to Seattle. Then you're playing Arizona in a game where Rodgers has 2 Hail Marys to force overtime, and then Larry Fitzgerald goes 75 yards down to the goal line. Then they pitch to him. 3 overtime playoff losses, 4 losses on the final play of the game, and 3 of those came in succession. 13, 14, 15. You had 3 straight years your season ended in walk-off fashion. That level of heartbreak, I can't speak to it. You guys both, unfortunately, while both being champions, can speak to what it actually feels like. For Rodgers, I'm sure he feels like, man, I should have had my 2nd championship already, if this, if that. I should have gone head-to-head with Brady. Back when Brady, by the way, only had 3, had lost 2 in a row, that Seattle Super Bowl should have been our appearance, and the whole narrative of everyone's different. But it didn't happen, and this is his best opportunity in a very long time.
It is his best opportunity, and being real. And I think Aaron is starting to get to the point where he's being realistic. He's no longer in the twilight of his prime. He understands the importance of, shoot, how much longer do I have, let alone how much longer is my abilities going to put us in the situation where we have this opportunity afforded to us. And so with that all being said, it is paramount that they take advantage of this opportunity that's right in front of them.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers the last 25 years have experienced a level of privilege at the quarterback position that not too many franchises have. It almost feels criminal that Aaron Rodgers has only played in 1 Super Bowl.
Yes.
All right, we'll hold it there. Greg, stick around. Coming up, will the Baltimore Ravens get upset if Lamar Jackson